instructor, Mr. Anthony Gamali. Good day, sir. By the way, I am Maribel Londo, BS Criminology third year student. So, for this report, my chosen topic is all about chapter 6, which is drugs. So, I will give explanation and I will give explanation based on my understanding regarding this topic. So, let's start. First, um, so here's the definition of drugs. Um, Drug defined, it is a chemical substance that bring about physical, physiological, behavioral, and or psychological change in a person taking it. So I will give further example or further explanation regarding this uh, regarding the definition of drugs later on. So let's proceed. So medical drugs. Medical drugs is a substance which, when taken into the human body, that cure illness and or relieve symptoms of disease. So, when we say medical drug, so from the word medical, so it is a medication from illness. So medication from so this so a medication is a drug used to diagnose, cure, treat, or prevent disease. Drug therapy is an important part of the medical field and relies on the science of pharmacology for continual advancement and on pharmacy for appropriate management. Drugs are classified in multiple ways. So, the example of medical drug is when we have fever. So, we take paracetamol or biogesic. Those are a medication or medical drug. So, next is um, dangerous drugs. A substance affecting the central nervous system, which when taken into a human body brings about physical, emotional, or behavioral changes in a person taking it. So, dangerous drug. So, from the word danger. So, regarding this topic, I will give further explanation. I will give further explanation later on. Let's proceed to um, drug abuse. So, drug abuse. Drug abuse any non-medical use of drug that cause physical, psychological, legal, economic, or social damage to the user or to people affected by the user's behavior. Um, Drug abuse, it occurs when people take drugs for purposes other than for which they are intended, or usually for their psychoactive effects. So there are two classifications of drugs. So we have a natural drugs and synthetic drugs. So natural drugs are active ingredients, secondary metabolic products of plants and other living systems that may be isolated by extraction. So, other terms or other definition of natural drugs are made from compounds found in nature. So, the most prevalent nature drug source are plants, the field of science that studies the relation between people and medical plants is known as medicinal ethnobotany. So the example of this drug is Rayophium, which what state in that picture, marijuana and coca bust. To be honest, I have no idea what this Rayophium is and coca bust. I am only familiar to marijuana because this is what we usually hear. And okay, the next one is synthetic drugs. So synthetic drugs are artificially produced substances, um, sys, um, synthesized in the laboratory for the illicit market, which are almost wholly manufactured from chemical compounds in illicit laboratories. So, as synthetic drugs, there are two examples of synthetic drugs: methamphetamine and barbiturates. So, synthetic drugs. So, there are three legal classification. So, according to legal classification, we have here the RA 9165, which a Comprehensive Dangerous Drug Act of 2002, and PD 169, or otherwise known as volatile substances. We are also have RA 6425, means classified as regulated and prohibited. So, under RA 9165, otherwise known as the Comprehensive Dangerous Drug Act of 2002, the term prohibited and regulated was changed into dangerous drugs with the following classification. So, the following classification. So, we have here the the immediate precursors. So, what is immediate precursors? Immediate precursors, a chemical substance used in the clandestine manufacturing process, becomes incorporated in full or in part into the final molecules of a substance under international control. So, other definition of immediate precursor, um, it is a substance which the Board of Pharmacy has found to be, and by regulation designates as being the principal compound commonly used or produced primarily for use, and which is an intermediate chemical intermediary used or likely to be used in the manufacture of a controlled substance, the control of which is necessary to prevent, curtail, or limit manufactures. So, those are the definition of immediate precursors. So, the second one is essential chemicals. So, chemical substance used as reagent or solvent in illegal manufactures of controlled substances. So, we have here in counter-drug operations, compounds that are required in the synthetic or extraction processes of drug production, but in most cases do not become part of the drug molecule. So, drug molecule. Essential chemicals are used in the production of cocaine or heroin. So, three, we have here the narcotic, psychotropic, and designers. So, there the narcotic, psychotropic, and designers. Wait. Uh, so, so there are, according to international classification, so there are three classification. So according to international classification, um, so we have a narcotic, psychotropic, and designer. So the next is according to pharmacological classification effect. According to the three international classifications, these are the three classification. These are the three international classification. So these are the features of narcotic, psychotropic, and designers. So these are the examples of international classification. So these are the pictures examples. So next is pharmacological. So we have here a pharmacological classification. We have four. So we have four. First, stimulant. Second, hallucinogen. Third, depressant. And fourth, last but not the least, is inhalants. So what is stimulant? Stimulant are drugs which increase alertness or physical disposition. So this picture is the example of amphetamine. So amphetamine. So what is amphetamine? So amphetamine, we have a straight name, has a straight name, eye opener, lead popper, pills, pip pills, uppers, and heart. So what is amphetamine? So what is it? It reduces appetite, relieves mental depression, comfort fatigue, and sleepiness. So how is it taken? Um, how is it taken? Taken orally as tablet or capsule. So the effects of this drug. So in general, it gives wakefulness, increase alertness or initiative. So there's also an toxic. So toxic, from restlessness to coma and worse to death. So dangers. How dangerous is this drug? Dependence, overdose, violent, or bizarre behavior. So there's also an example. There's also another example. It is a methamphetamine hydrochloride, or otherwise known as shabu. So here's the pictures indicated what is shabu looks like. So there's also a street name. So we always hear bato, or 4 months cocaine, S, shrubs, ubas, siopaw, sha, or ice. So what is it? It is a white, odorless crystal or crystalline powder with a bitter, numbing taste. So how is it taken? How is it taken? Ingestion, inhalation, chasing the dragon, sniping, injection, or smoked. So what is the effect of this drug? So the effects of this drug, in general, it gives anxiety, irritability, irrational behavior. So in long term, psychosis similar to, so it gives an psychosis similar to schizophrenia, or difficulty in concentrating, loss of interest in sex. So in physical, it gives chest pain, irregular heartbeat, hypertension, convulsion, and death. So danger. Injection from contaminated needles may lead to risk of infections, clevitis, septicemia, AIDS, and etc. So those example, those amphetamine and shabu, those are the example of stimulants. So let's proceed to the second pharmacological example, classification, which is hallucinogen. Hallucinogens are drugs which affect sensation, thinking, self-awareness and emotions. Changes in time and space perception, delusions or false beliefs, and hallucinations may be mild or overwhelming depending on dose and quality of drugs. So, the example of hallucinogen is um, ecstasy. So, ecstasy, here's the picture, um, the example picture of ecstasy. So, this is ecstasy looks like. So, we have there's a street name XTC, Adam, Essence, E, and Herbals. So how it takens? It takes taken by swallowing or inhalation. So effects. What is the effects when you take ecstasy? So the effects of ecstasy um, gives an exaggerated emotions, make HR and BP hike up, dries the mouth, stiffen arms, legs, jaw, dilates pupil of the eyes, causes faintness, chills, sweating, and nausea. So, how dangerous is this drug? It is really dangerous because this drug, it can really kill. So, another example of hallucinogen is LSD or lysergic acid diethylamide. So this is the example. This is the picture. This picture is the example of LSD. So LSG has a street name, Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, wedding bells, acid, white sugar, lightning cubes, or brain ethers. So what is uh what is LSD? What is it? It is a semi-synthetic alkaloid substance extracted from a fungus which grows on rye, wheat, and other grains. Odorless, it is odorless, tasteless, and colorless. So the effects of this drug. So uh, it is in psychological, it gives vivid hallucinations, confusions, blurring and distinction between conscious and unconscious thought, and etc. So those are the psychological effect. So in physical, there's also a physical effect of this drug. So dilated pupils, flushed face, on increased BP, and etc. So the danger of this drug. So may cause abnormal amount of breakage of chromosomes of WBCs that carries genes which may result to miscarriage and birth defects. So LSD can LSD, if you take LSD during your pregnancy, it can cause miscarriage or worse, birth defects when your baby are born. So another example is marijuana. I know many of us are familiar about this drug because we often hear this um, in our society. So the example of marijuana is what is in the picture. Um, this is the example of marijuana. So marijuana has a street name. So this is really common, or the famous name of marijuana in our town, which is Mary Jane. So flower, pampapuge, brown nines, damo, pot, tea, joint, and dupe. So those are the street names of marijuana. So what is it? What is marijuana? Marijuana comes from cannabis sativa L. Indian hemp. Looks like fine, green, honey, or butter. So the effects of this drug or of this um, also the effects of this drug, it is immediate, so faster heartbeat after. So the effect of this drug after taking it, the immediate effects, faster heartbeat, um, bloodshot eyes, and dry mouth. So in long term, so we have chest pain, um, we have pain, temporary loss of fertility, cancer, or marijuana burnt out. So those are the effects of um, marijuana. So the danger. So the danger. So the danger slows down users' mental and psychomotor activities. Long-term use may lead to psychological dependence or may lead to cancer. So one of the dangers on taking marijuana, it can cause cancer to the person take who keep on taking it. So it's not good to our health. So another pharmacological classification is depressant. These are drugs which depress or lower the function of the central nervous system. So, so there are two types of um, depressant. So we have here the narcotics and tranquilizers. So what is narcotics? A drug which induces sleep or hypnotics or stop or unrelieved pain analgesic. So so narcotic drugs. So something that suits or causes a sensation of mental numbness. So the second one, this include opium, opiates, heroin, morphine, and codeine. So the other types of depressant is tranquilizers. So a substance that reduces anxiety, ease tension, and relax muscle. So this is a substance used to treat moderate to severe pain. So we have here sedative and hypnotics, calm the nerves, reduce tension, and induce sleep. So a drug or other substance that affect how the brain works and causes changes in mood, awareness, thought, feelings, or behavior. Example of psychotropic substances include alcohol, caffeine, um, caffeine, nicotine, marijuana, and certain pain medicine. So, so example of sedative and hypnotic. So we have here barbiturates and alcohol. So that pictures um, That's the example of barbiturates and alcohol. So third, we have here the inhalant. Inhalant, these are in liquid, solid, or mixed substance that has the property of releasing toxic, psychoactive vapors or fumes. So the best example of inhalant is IR, the solvent, glue, gasoline, kerosene, paint, cleaner, and naphthalene. So let's proceed to what are considered dangerous drugs. So dangerous drugs is a substance affecting the central nervous system which when taken into the human body brings about physical, emotional, or behavioral changes in a person's taking it. So it is a substance which when taken into the human body alters mood, perception, feelings, and behavior. So there are three categories of dangerous drugs. So first, we have here prohibited drug. Prohibited drug are pretty much off limits in the eye of the law. So this is unlawful drug or medication, I guess. This means that they can be legally bought or sold in the United States. So you will likely see some sort of trouble if you're caught growing or making, distributing, or using prohibited substances. So, in other terms, prohibited drugs, which includes opium and its active components and derivatives such as heroin and morphine, coca leaf, and its derivative principally cocaine, alpha and beta cocaine, hallucinogenic drugs such as mescaline, lysergic acid, diethylamide or LSD, and other substances producing similar effects. Indian hemp and its derivatives, all preparation made from any of the foregoing and other drugs and chemical preparations, whether natural or synthetic, with the physiological effects of narcotic or a hallucinogenic drug, as amended by BP 179 dated March 2, 1982. So those are the definition or examples of prohibited drugs. So let's proceed to second category, which is regulated drug. Regulated drug is one that is researched, manufactured, distributed, and administered under the supervision of regulatory authorities. So, in other words, regulated drug includes self-inducing sedatives such as secobarbital, pinobarbital, pentobarbital, barbital, amobarbital, and any other drug which contain salt or derivative of a salt of barbituric acid. Any salt, isomer, or salt of an isomer of amphetamine, such as benzedrine and dexedrine. or any drug which produces a psychological action similar to amphetamine, and hypnotic drugs such as metaqualone, nitrazepam, or any other compound producing similar physiological effects as amended by PD number 1683 dated March 14, 1980. So, the next one is volatile or volatile substance or substances. Volatile substances, it refers to gases or chemicals that evaporate at room temperature to form a vapor which can be inhaled. So, in volatile substances, they are similar to inhalants, which has an example of solvent, glue, gasoline, kerosene, paint, thinner, and naphthalene. So from the word evaporate, from the word gases or chemicals that evaporate at room temperature from a vapor which can be inhaled. So from the word inhalant. So other term of volatile substance or substances, it is a liquid, solid, or mixed substances having the property of releasing toxic vapors or fumes or any chemical substance which when sniffed, smelled, inhaled, or introduced into the physiological system of the body produce or induce a condition of intoxication, um, inebriation, excitement, stupefactation, and etc. So, so drug dependence means a state of psychic or physical dependence or both on dangerous drug arising in a person following administration or use of the drug in periodic continuous basis. So characteristic of drug dependency. So we have a physical dependence. The body's physical system changes until the body uh, needs that particular drugs in order to function. So the next one is um, it is a mental or psychological dependence. So uh, the next one is mental or psychological dependence. Um, a need of drug in order to feel good, to get by, or feel normal. So, so the third one is idiosyncrasy or side effect. So, used. So, the physical dependence, mental or psychological dependence, and idiosyncrasy or side effect, those are the characteristic of drug dependencies or dependency. So, in idiosyncrasy or side effect, we have here the used. So the use is it is refers to the act of injecting intravenously or intramuscularly, or of consuming either by chewing, smoking, sniff, sniffing, eating, swallowing, drinking, or otherwise introducing into the physiological system of the body any of the dangerous drugs. So, cells or seal means the act of giving a dangerous drug, whether for money or any other material consideration. So, there's also a question here in on our book. So, by the way, um, this was this topic is this drug dependency. I didn't include this to my PPT or PowerPoint presentation because I I I am just reading this to the last page of um, chapter 6, which is um, last page of chapter 6, the last page of this topic. So I didn't include this in my PPT. I just read this and try to explain. So there's a question: what happened to confiscated, seized, and surrendered dangerous drugs, plant sources of dangerous drugs, controlled precursors and essential chemicals, instrument, paraphernalia, and or laboratory equipment? So what would happen if the confiscated, if the police or the PDEA confiscated all those um, equipment or equipments? So the answer so the answer is the Philippine Drug Enforcement Agency, or the PDEA, shall have custody of all dangerous drugs, plant sources of dangerous drugs, controlled precursors, and essential chemicals, as well as instrument, paraphernalia, and or laboratory equipment that are confiscated, seized, and or surrendered. The apprehending team or the group in custody of the confiscated drug shall immediately prepare an inventory and photograph the items in the presence of accused or his counsel as representative from the media and the Department of Justice or the DOJ, and any elected public officials. So the items or the equipments will then be submitted to the PDEA or forensic laboratory for examination within 24 hours only after receipt of the items. The forensic laboratory examiner shall issue a certification of the laboratory results. So all the items will be submitted in PDEA Forensic Laboratory within 24 hours. And afterwards, the Forensic Laboratory Examiner will give the certification of report or result uh, to all those submitted items or equipment. So After that, the court shall conduct an ocular inspection of the confiscated items, so within 72 hours. So in PDEA, after submitted, it will then submitted to the PDEA, or the forensic laboratory for examination. Within 24 hours, uh, the receipt of the items, it the receipt of the items to the forensic laboratory examiner shall issue the certification for the laboratory result. While in the court, it shall conduct the ocular inspection in the confiscated item within 72 hours. So after the filing of the criminal case. So 72 hours in the court. Within 72 hours within the court. But within the PDEA, it is 24 hours before giving the receipt of the laboratory examiner and the certification of laboratory result. So the PDEA, the PDEA shall then destroy or burn the items in the presence of the accused. So the PDEA will burn or break all those items, all those item confiscated, seized, and surrendered. They will then burn or destroy all those items in the presence of the accused, itself, a representative from media and DOJ. So there's also a representative in media, so the PDEA, the accused, the representative of media, and the DOJ, civil society group, and any elected officials. So, but still, however, even though those items was destroyed or burned, still, however, a representative sample shall be retained or maintained. So after the judgment has been rendered in the criminal case, so after the judgment, or the trial prosecutor shall inform Dangerous Drug Board, or DDB, that the case has been terminated and ask permission from the court to turn over the representative sample of the PDEA. I guess that would be all. My report has been done. I hope that I could give enough presentation and enough. I hope I could give enough I could give proper presentation and enough explanation and example to all I have reported. So I guess I am done. So don't forget, guys, please read again the chapter 6, which is the drugs. This is which is my chosen report. Please read if you have concerns or something that questioned you or puzzled you about this report. So thank you again, everyone. Most especially to you, sir. Thank you again. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to report to you what is drug is all about. At least we have an idea the differences between the dangerous drug and the medical drugs. So once again, I am Marvel Elondo, BS Criminology 3rd year student, your soon to be law enforcer. Thank you.